Hello, my name is Camille Alexander, and I will be presenting a presentation on interpersonal communication for HSER 508 at Liberty University Online. Next slide. Interpersonal communication is the type of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximizes the presence of the personnel. Interpersonal communication is a subset of communication in general. This means that collaboration, choices, culture, identities, conversation, and nexting are all parts of interpersonal communicating too. Interpersonal communication takes place when communication emphasizes the person involved rather than just their roles or stereotypical characteristics. Next slide. To continue to grow spiritually and enable God to do miraculous work in my life so that I am able to do the work He has set in His design plan for my life. My org is to develop skills to become a better communicator by listening emphatically and not placing judgment on others before listening effectively. And ultimately enlarging the Almighty Lord Himself. Let us encourage one another and all the more as you see the day approaching. Next slide. Defining the term to be creative in my approach to connect with people aside from the norm, to make conversations meaningful, to avoid use the sameness approach, to challenge myself to explore deeper into the conversation on different levels, personal, professional, and spiritual. Next slide. To enlarge my conversation, I must identify my uniqueness, include prayer in my daily walk with Christ, and seek God for spiritual guidance and direction. Develop and or enhance my communication style, and ultimately be mindful and cautious of communication traps. Peterson defines communication traps as a style that is commonly used every day and routinely keep us from listening well and get in the way of clean communication. Next slide. My background. I come from a family of talkers and very little listeners. I often engage in competitive conversation. I try to avoid sensitive family issues. I get overly emotional. I'm not a confrontational person, and I'm always coming to the rescue of my family members. Next slide. Understanding my behavior blend, DIC personality type. I am very inspiring and caring individual. I am more active than passive, but well researched to get a better understanding of things. I am brave, flattering, and cunning. Prefer to deal with conflicts directly, but tends to approach them generally and analytically. Most of my problems in life stem from personality clashes, even among good friends and relatives. Most of our hurts come from personality conflicts. Next slide. Positive background and behavior blend, positive influences, open, honest, and understanding, compassionate, always willing to help out, take initiative to help others with their problems, negative influences, often taking advantage of using my kindness as a weakness, often become overwhelmed with people problems. Next slide. Interpersonal context, personal potential barriers, perception, reception, attention, depending on the listener's motives. Perception, reception, and attention alters the conversation. Hearing what you want to hear. When a person hears what they want to hear and not what is being communicated. Biased listening. When opinions are formed about the level and value of what will be said. Fatigue. When you don't feel up to par. We have a more difficult time being attentive. Next slide. Internal and external noise pollutions. Noise pollution is defined as a noise that is annoying, cause a distraction, and are harmful to others. Internal noise pollutions. Things inside of us that prevent us from communicating effectively. Personal beliefs, stereotypes, daydreaming, and rehearsing what you are going to say next. External noise pollution. Things outside ourselves that distract us from communicating effectively. Background noises, traffic, children, radio, television, and clock ticking. Next slide. Plan of action. Eliminating barriers. Develop techniques to avoid potential barriers. Avoid distractions. Internal and external noise pollutions. Realize the importance of having clear outcomes when influencing others. Next slide. Preferences.